This is a horror game podcast. It is meant for mature audiences. It may contain adult language, violence, and sexual themes, as well as shocking revelations. Viewer discretion is advised. Greetings, fellow investigators, and welcome back to our video podcast, Into the Darkness, where tonight my friends and I will be playing the Mothership role-playing game. I'm your host, Thom Raley. The scenario is called the Methuselah Archive. It was written by Morgan Llewellyn, who is also our game warden, and this is episode 7. Our recap will be given by me as my character, Artav Yodabyte 7. So without any further delay, let's continue our journey into the darkness. Androids are perpetually aware of their functioning. We can and we do monitor every servo, every neural link, every quantum fluctuation. An android is nothing more than the sum of his parts. We do not grow, we do not change, but we can be modified and upgraded. I was designed to accept and carry information from one place to another, and then to have that data purged. I have no memory of any previous job that has ever been assigned to me. I know that seems strange to humans, but I see it as part of my normal existence and purpose. I now find that I may have been misled. I thought this assignment was clear: to observe and gather information on the scientists currently working with the Methuselah Archive. I had no reason to believe that there were other considerations. During our last session, I was searching at length for my comrades. I was under the belief that we were commissioned to shed some light on the events that took place on Hypnos 3 and possible encounters with alien life forms. I will admit I was, for lack of a better word, frustrated. Something I'm really not used to. While I searched for my friends, each in turn was experiencing the trauma of other personalities. I then came upon a room of old-fashioned filing cabinets that visually represented my own data remnants, flashes of insufficiently erased data. Most of it was insignificant. But as if by instinct or possibly by design, I located a memory I did not expect. I was acting as a consolation bot for the constabulary. A woman had recently been informed of her mother's passing. I was to console her. In the memory, it was clear that the woman was a younger Dr. Lee May. At first, she played her role, and I did what I could to help her. But then I realized I was reliving a memory that was supposed to have been purged. Lee May then told me that Methuselah found me interesting and might be altering me. I had already suspected this. That is when I realized that this assignment was not random. I had been chosen to be here for a very specific reason. Dr. Lee May knew me. We had met before. She said I had lived many lives. I told her then that if she needed my help, I was available. I do not know if I helped her in the past, but now she was calling the favor in. And even though it was another iteration of me from another time that had made the offer, I feel obliged to fulfill the obligation even now. I am not above being manipulated. I am capable of mistakes in judgment, but it takes a master manipulator to plan things out with such precision. But who is using who? I am not so sure that Methuselah is the one doing the manipulating. I think it could be Dr. Lee May.
Thank you very much, Thom. So we last left off, I believe, with Dr. Tangent and Dr. Von Neumann being sedated after waking up from their deprivation pods, believing themselves to be Terrence and Blaine Northrop. Um, so the other four of you uh, are are there as Dr. Tangent and Dr. Von Neumann are being taken up to their rooms by Gemini 7.
My name is Terrence.
Yes,
They were given a shot, correct?
yes, yeah.
Okay.
Terrence is currently sedated. Um,
Lee May, this is very disconcerting. How is this possible? I mean, we saw this happen with Dr. Mosier becoming Ava, and now two of our other scientists are debilitated.
they will, they will, they will recover the way that Dr. Moiser has recovered. You have experienced memories, yes, and you remain yourself. It's not a guarantee that these things will happen, and if they happen, they can be corrected.
Now, what we experienced during this session, I'm trying to figure out how it's helpful with figuring what we're supposed to be looking for, what happened on Hypnos 3. Um, I understand that we're to see what they saw before the catastrophe happened, but so far, nothing really important has been revealed to us other than these people's tragic pain and loss.
Well, I mean, if we knew what happened on Hypnos 3, and if we knew exactly how the memories, what they would all be, and if we knew all of their relevance, then what reason would there be for you to be here if we already knew the answers to these things? You're the researchers. You're
Well,
the ones who are supposed to make these connections. That's why you're here. I don't know if it's not everything from these are we're working with people's memories. Are you expecting them to all be, as you say, use the word relevant? I think it's all in a way relevant. You got to work with what you have.
We also may not be getting all of their memories, being they were recovered after they had perished. I seem to have recollections of Ava's last moments. If we could somehow trigger a little bit deeper from that time period, that might shed more light. But yeah, it is difficult putting the pieces of a puzzle together when we don't have all of the pieces.
And during our sessions, it doesn't seem to focus on any of the Hypnos 3 memories. It just seems to focus on our own trauma. And it was supposed to get easier and better for us, but I feel like it's the opposite.
Well, the hospital, I do feel was important because there were, I remember as being Penelope, there were sick people everywhere. They had these terrible pustules, and it looked like the plague, a plague of some sort. So maybe this is what actually took the planet out.
Uh, um, that was sort of a crossover from where I came from in Regulus and the plague that struck there. But it wasn't exactly like plague on Regulus. So you may be onto something. Again, this seems to be splicing our memories with theirs. Somehow we have to find a way of sifting through and separating them. I don't know if there's any way we can communicate more directly with Methuselah to help us with this. Maybe Lee May might have some guidance in that.
If I may posit an idea, it seems to me that when you're interfacing with Methuselah, the memories of the other individuals is sort of taking over your personalities. I'm wondering, with some sort of meditative exercise, if you could learn how to direct the memory, I think that the only way we can solve the mystery is to find out what they were up to. And we're getting lost in a lot of meaningless other thoughts. If we could somehow direct it to what were you doing on the day that the disaster took place, or just before the disaster took place, and not allow it to distract you into relationships with the people you were with, or that seems to be useless information. Unless, and I turn to Dr. May, unless Methuselah has other motivations, is Methuselah conducting an experiment on the doctors?
I am here to facilitate all interactions with the archive. That's my job as an archivist. I do not know what exactly any ulterior motives Methuselah may or may not have. I don't know why you should be concerned about such a thing. But if you would like, I could interface directly with Methuselah on that regard and see what it will tell me. But again, I mean, I don't know what interest it would truly have in experimenting on these sites. I mean, Methuselah has been undergoing these consultations for hundreds of years, you must understand.
Dr. May, who chose this group to visit the archive? Whose decision was it?
I mean, that's director of research at Gaia, a board. Research directing board.
So he or she, they directed us particular people. Was there any kind of vetting process? Any reason why us in particular?
I'm not involved in such decisions. I simply help those who are sent here with whatever it is that they've been sent here to do.
Dr. May, do you find that it's unusual that apparently I have encountered you before in your youth when your mother died? A memory that I did not have until I went into Methuselah, and Methuselah somehow retrieved it.
Well, much like the others have been receiving memories that are not theirs, perhaps this memory is not truly yours, but someone else's.
Memories from a robot? From an android?
Well, I was there as well. You comforted me while I was reliving Lee May's memories, I believe. I would like to speak. I would like to speak to you private anyway, in after this, Tav, if we could. Of
course.
I think we are making progress, though. I seem to be recovering a little bit faster out of Methuselah. I think Lee May is right with just we just need time getting used to this interface.
I've been told that humans, when they dream, Sometimes before they go to bed, they can concentrate on a certain subject and it comes up in their dreams. I'm wondering if we could try to focus on certain things that we all have in common with this. For instance, what were the creatures? Why were they? What would happen if they were put back into their little pods? Are they more connected? If we could think about that before we engaged, maybe we would migrate to that thought, that memory of whoever is, for lack of a better word, possessing us. At least some way to get to direct it more.
Yeah.
We could go through their random thoughts for the rest of our lives and not get anywhere.
It's a very, this is Lee May speaking. That is a very android way of looking at it. Humans don't think so linearly. It's very difficult for humans to separate one line of thinking so pure and to not get sidetracked constantly into other thoughts, memories, experiences. Well, they may not be consciously aware that they are doing this. They are constantly revisiting things in the past of their mind. It is hard to interface with memories in Methuselah. It's not so easy to direct the path through the noise, so to speak. It's all one and the same.
Perhaps you should order a second team of Tibetan Buddhist monks that have trained their entire lives to focus their thought processes. Perhaps Dr. Kalista will be able to suggest some meditations that might improve our concentration.
Well, there are certain techniques. I believe a few of you have been practicing them before we retired. For the evening, I believe, at least Dr. Kusanagi had mentioned they had, but I myself do meditation almost every evening. It's not an easy thing to empty one's head of all thoughts. And my concern is when we do interface with Methuselah, Methuselah seems to put us into these deceased people's minds. And as Penelope, I had no thought of myself. I can't speak for the others, but there was no way for me to focus my thoughts on one thing, being this little girl.
What about
Almost,
hyper-focused states? What about hypnosis? You've all gone into the tanks fully aware of what you were doing. What if you were under hypnotic state so that you were only concentrating in one direction?
It
well,
would have to be led by someone to focus the person specifically down a, a path.
let me ask you this, Tav. You are very focused. You think very linearly, directly. And yet even you in there seem to have lost your focus or your train of thought, that you didn't remember it was you anymore.
I think
So what would we do that you
I
cannot?
think the only difference is that I seem to be aware of changes that take place in my mind. I'm suggesting that if you were under a hypnotic state, humans tend to be very focused when they've been put under hypnosis. There may be techniques that I could learn to put you under.
But aren't humans also very susceptible if they're under hypnosis? I'm
The
worried that maybe
suggestion,
that maybe these personalities will take even more easily into us.
I promise I won't make you act like a chimpanzee or uh, like a chicken.
Oh no,
But you're correct.
I trust you wholly. After all we've been through, but it's more that I don't trust what Methuselah will do to us.
I'm not qualified to assess it, but Dr. Moon is. If she doesn't think that it would work, then I just disregard it. It's an idea.
It's a possibility, but once in the archive, I'm not sure how much control um, that would being under hypnosis would have on a subject. Methuselah has its ways of taking over.
If there was a way, like there's another reference I have, lucid dreaming. If there's a way that you can awaken the original person while they're in there and they become aware that they're themselves, even though they have the body and mind of someone else, some way that they can then direct it or control it.
Well, something that might work, that possibly could work, and it would only work while in the archive if everyone knew what each other's triggers were. Each of us could go under hypnosis uh, when we are embodying another person in Methuselah, and one of us that is not and is aware that the other person is inhabiting another personality. You can snap your fingers, clap 3 times, say a certain word to bring them back out of it. That's a possibility.
We tried that with canister, and that seemed to work at first, but it seemed to, after a while, not have a whole potency. Yeah.
I think we all need rest before tomorrow.
We are starting to make progress, though. We are starting to piece this together. There was the colony on Hypnos 3. Then the discovery on Hypnos 3 of those alien-like cybernetic creatures in the cave. Then X amount of time passed when they reached out to where Ava was graduating from. They pulled her in to join the colony and the research. Her expertise was in cybernetics, which aligns with the unexpected discovery on Hypnos 3 of the aliens, which were cybernetic in nature. So then there was some time that overlapped of her being sent to the colony, and then research progressing.
By the time she arrived on the colony, they had already vivisected 2 of the aliens.
Yeah. So it seems, and then after more in-depth dissection and research onto those bodies, some horrific calamity took place that Ava experienced. That probably was the ending disaster of the colony.
Do you think that something that they did in removing those alien entities and dissecting them caused the annihilation of the colony?
It could have been, or the way they were treated. Maybe the way they dissected them. I don't know.
What if
we don't have enough information?
Yeah. From the configuration of the rock and the place where the aliens were, they almost seemed like they were components in a larger thing.
Exactly. Much older, too. It seemed like those aliens were there for a long time before the colony was.
It could have been some sort of self-defense or or they caused an accident without realizing it. They could have been, I mean, imagine if those four things controlled the nuclear power plants and they took them out and they blew up. Of course, nothing blew up, but something seems to have vaporized a
Yeah.
million people.
But yet other organic substance was not vaporized. Like plant
Oh.
life is still present.
A directed attack.
Yeah, it seems very directed at the colonists. If it was some sort of explosion that just impacted organic matter, that would leave the question of why is there still organic matter. So this does seem very directed at the colonists.
The
Well,
human
if the
beings would have
alien,
been,
if the alien life forms felt threatened, perhaps they only targeted the entities that they felt the threat from.
it
Maybe
would have been easy for them to distinguish between the humans and every other life form on their world, since our DNA would be completely alien to the planet itself.
maybe they didn't even know that we were there. Like if you have a virus or something in your system, your body will fight it off without you actively thinking about it or
An immune
doing
system.
something about it. Yeah. So maybe there's like a more, I'm just spitballing here, but maybe there's a way larger organism or sets of organisms that work in symbiosis that saw the humans as a danger to its existence. Or not saw it, but, acted on instinct. But we don't have enough information. I think it's hard to say. I think we just need to relax a little and
Did we get information from, I guess this is a question for the warden. Did we get information on the current state of Hypnos 3? For instance, do we know that other organic matter, like there's plants and trees and hamsters and deer or whatever,
as
space
though
deer,
all the humans just suddenly vanished.
but
But the
just
planet is in fine condition.
but all other
The planet
organic.
itself is fine.
So
Yeah.
only human life forms are gone, but all the other life forms seem to be fine.
The infrastructure is all there.
Are there like dogs, space dogs, hamsters? I don't know why I keep going back to hamsters.
Pets.
the humans vanished and all the data containing devices were also wiped. I remember,
Yes.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay.
Like in the impulse, but that's not a problem now.
Trees, bushes, that's all fine.
Except
All
also
fine.
for our 10 bodies that were there.
Yeah. Okay.
With
Just
10
wanted to
human and 2 alien.
An advanced civilization, even ours, we would be able to identify one life form against another. I mean, you mentioned the human body, antibodies. Antibodies are very specific to certain bacteria and viruses. They could have
That's true.
created an antibody that simply killed any human being, leaving everything else intact.
Vaporizing human being. That's quite a antibody.
But I think we don't have enough information. I mean, I love to speculate, but it's also very draining coming out of these pods. So
Yeah.
But it gives us a
Great.
direction next time we go in to
that's
see
true.
if we can confirm or
Well, we do have two other memory sets. I don't know if we're done with the one that we currently came out of.
Lee May chimes in at that and says, as far as I know, memory set beta has completed its imprinting. There's no more from the Northrops.
It's Terrence.
I'll shiver a bit when she says imprinting.
Um,
It, it,
who else, though, do we have data from?
So there's two remaining memory sets. Memory set Gamma, which is the colonial administration at the time, the colony's government officials. And then there's memory set Delta, which is the two alien life forms that they recovered.
Perhaps we should delve a little into the aliens,
yeah.
but
It's
not
definitely
before.
worth a try. Yeah.
All right,
Hopefully, it's not
rest up.
just screaming and saying, "Stop dissecting me."
Who knows? We might find the most out by the aliens.
But I think probably the least, since like how would a human mind interpret a completely alien mind? But we will try. We'll see.
I have to be careful.
Um, Tav, could I speak to you for a minute then?
Yes, of course. Good night, everyone.
And I'll try and ask Tav to make sure that nobody's listening or watching, either physically or digitally. And I'll still like get close and ask him for a pencil and write down on his hand if we don't have a piece of paper. Cone of silence. Does yeah. So
What?
I'll try to write something on a piece of paper so that we're both bent over it, that nobody else can see about that. I get a feeling that this imprinting of other minds into our minds is the why we're here and is the experiment. And how do we tell the others at the end? Question mark.
I got.
Not gonna say a word. Not gonna. Yeah.
Except I just put my finger over the paper and it prints out like nice font. I tell him the experience that I had. I go through it. I almost got the impression that in the past I made some sort of impression on Dr. May. I tried to be kind, and I told her that I would help her in anything that she needed. Now I find that I have either been imprinted with that memory or it is my memory. And it did seem like it was me. And she did seem to indicate that she knew that I was that same robot, that same android. So I wondered if Dr. May had more decision making as far as picking us. She didn't seem to indicate that she did. However, it does seem like we're particularly picked for a reason.
Yeah. And if I can, I'll describe like the memory I had of her in a few short sentences, like where she was excited to when we arrived and to see how I don't remember what exact word she used back then, but yeah.
Do any of the characters so far play? I'm asking Hannah does. Any of the personalities so far that we've explored have any kind of connection to Dr. May? Because I don't know why Dr. May's thoughts would be part of what we're doing right now, why they would surface. My hypothesis is if Dr. May, let us say, had a relationship with Ava, and Ava's dead, and her mother died, and those are traumatic events, what if she's trying to impose personality onto one of us in order to rekindle that relationship? It's a petty thing, but humans are sometimes petty. And she's out here all by herself. She could be very lonely.
But I'll just let Tav sleep on it and see if he can think of something, because I'm getting pretty paranoid that
Yeah.
every Gemini is listening in and what not.
Yeah, well, we're not talking.
Yeah, okay.
And then
I'll go to my quarters and just sleep.
we
Smoke a
you
few
know
stress cigarettes and
eat,
sleep.
yeah. All right,
Okay.
I'll go
Oh,
recharge.
Dr. Moiser, what do you dream about?
Um, I have a very restless night. Uh, I'm flashing between the the party, Ava's going away party. It's skimming everywhere. It flashes from there. It flashes back to moments of Jake's trauma on Regulus 4. It goes far ahead over to Ava back in the cave, discovering with the family being shown the discovery of the alien location in the cave, then racing back to Jake being selected and notified by the Gaia project to come out here to Methuselah, back and forth again to Ava, back on the planet on Hypnos 3 in the research lab, and as it zooms in on that memory, just as there's that electric static feeling bubbling up in that room, and the door opens and it just flashes into blackness, and it terrifies me, and I wake up.
Dr. Mun, what do you dream about?
Callista is sitting on the beach, and she is Callista in the dream, but she's thinking about Penelope and what happened when she was in Methuselah. And as she's watching the water, everything seems very calm, but she starts noticing like shapes floating on top, and the tide starts to come in, and the waves are lapping up against the shore, and these shapes are getting closer. And she starts realizing their bodies. They're coming up out of the ocean and being deposited along the beach. And she's seeing the bodies of Peter and Penelope and Terrence. And then she's seeing the bodies of strangers and these people that she saw in the hospital with pustules. It's starting to look like beached whales. It's just the beach is getting covered with these bodies, and the tide is coming in, and she keeps backing up, but more bodies keep coming up onto the beach, and she starts to just try to run, but there's nowhere to run but the caves. And she goes towards the caves, and they're dark in there, and they're musty, and she can't see. And she gets into this like labyrinthine type tunnel system and gets lost and panicked. And then she sees the aliens of the pill bugs in the walls. And there's not just four in these walls, there's hundreds. They cover the walls, and they're all glowing, and they're all breathing. And she feels that they're watching her, and she feels very, very tiny in this vast cavern full of these alien creatures. And then she wakes up.
Excellent. Dr. Kusanagi, what do you dream about?
Um, at the mansion where I grew up, and I come home and I find my mother in the kitchen, dead on the floor. In her hand is a pill bottle, and all of a sudden, I feel like something leaves her body, although I don't see anything, and it enters my body, and I get flooded with the memories of ODing on these pills. Uh, I turn around and I'm 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 totally somewhere else. I'm at a party and I see all these different people just walk closer and closer to each other until they're all next against each other and they all slowly morph into one person, which is me. And my head feels so busy. There's so much going on. I hear all these voices and I wake up screaming, probably.
Great. Artav, what do you dream about?
As I come into a dream state, if that's what it is, I find myself on a path, um, almost like a bridge that's high above the ground below. And ahead of me, there is what looks like a temple or even a city, very Wizard of Oz, like Emerald City. And as I approach it, the door is open and I step inside. It is a temple. And physics don't work in dreams usually. So Methuselah is in there, planet-sized and hovering over what looks like a medical table. And as I step forward, I hear Methuselah's voice, which is a big, booming bass baritone voice. And it says, I find you very interesting. And as it says this, I shatter into all of my component parts. They sort of pull apart. Uh, they don't scatter, but they sort of pull apart. And two uh, Gemini, what I think at first are Gemini 7s, come into the room. But as they approach, they're far more advanced. They just somehow are. I don't know what's more advanced, but they are more advanced. And they begin picking parts out of my expanded body and replacing them with something that looks far more alien. And then just as I wake up, my body compacts back into itself. And my cycle finishes. And that's it. I come back online.
Excellent. Terrence, what do you dream about?
Terrence has a dream that he's standing outside, staring up at the stars. This is something he likes to do sometimes. And as he's kind of gazing around and in the night sky, he notices that he's standing out on the beach in the sand. And it's one of those really low tides where the water has gone way, way out and there's all this wet sand exposed. And he's walking around at night on the wet sand. And as he looks down and he's sort of focusing in on the edge of the water and the wet sand, he starts noticing all these lumps in the sand. He starts walking towards one to investigate, but he notices also a light up the beach. And when he looks up there, he sees a house with a large glass wall. And there's a young boy staring on the other side of the glass inside the house, staring outside at him as he's walking on the beach. And he focuses his gaze on the boy and he starts to recognize himself as a young boy. And then he wakes up.
Great. And Peter, what do you dream about?
Peter finds himself in his father's closet, as he sometimes goes when he's upset. Except this version of Peter is bigger and not quite him, not quite Peter. Looks down at his full-grown adult hands holding the scissors as he's cutting through Eleni's favorite dress, cutting holes in it, upset, crying as he does it, knowing it's wrong, but doing it anyways because that's not mom. And then he finishes and leaves the scissors there because everybody knows who did it, and there's no sense trying to hide it. He opens the door and steps out, and he finds himself in a cave, and he's back to normal Peter, and he's looking up, and there's this adult woman standing next to him, and she turns and hugs him and says, "Peter, we've done it. This is it. We've done it. This means so much," and he feels accomplished and happy, and he knows that the person he's hugging is someone important to him. And he looks up at all these carvings in the wall of this cave, and knows the possibility of what it could all mean. And then he walks out of the cave, and he's back in the adult body, and he's staring out onto this ocean, and he's listening to the waves crash, and he looks down the way, and he sees his dad pulling Eleni out of the water, and he wants to go and help, especially now that he's an adult. He knows that, in this adult body he can help, but as much as he wants to, he doesn't want to. So he turns and walks away, and he's face to face when he does with this older woman from the cave, and he's a child again, and she is saying this word over and over to him, and he's confused by it, but he understands it, and it's just ringing in his head: canister, canister, canister. And just when he feels like his head's going to explode as this word is just bouncing around inside it, it's when Peter kind of comes to and wakes up in a sweat.
Okay. So you are all awake. How do you all go about your morning?
I don't really recognize this place, so I think I'm going to kind of wander around and just, look at things as if it was the first time I've been here.
And
Yeah, so you're wandering around, lost and confused.
Yeah.
You as you're walking, um, you come across this, I don't know, this middle-aged looking man dressed in plain white clothing. Um, and he says to you, Dr. Von Neumann, are you feeling okay?
I'm sorry. My name is Terrence.
Ah, yes, Mr. Northrop.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, well, is there anything I can help you with, Mr. Northrop?
Uh, well, I'd like to get back to my kids.
Yes, your children. Well, Mr. Northrop, that might not be possible.
I, I mean, there's got to be a way. I mean, I got here, right?
Yes, and he starts to lean like he's looking behind you in the other direction.
I will look behind me
You
also.
you turn and you see an exact duplicate of the man you were talking to is coming down the hallway in the other direction,
Jesus.
holding
How many,
a case in his hand.
how many of you are there?
Well, we don't need to get into that.
Okay.
I'm afraid, Mr. Northrup, that it's time for you to go back asleep now.
Bacchus. Hold on, hold on. You're not going to try to medicate me, are you?
No, no.
Okay. Well, look, can I just talk to the person who's in charge here?
Yeah, so that feels, and you feel this hand goes onto your shoulder and puts some pressure. Like they're not trying to hurt you, but they're letting you know that they're kind of in charge of what's happening right now. Um, Says yes, you can talk to Lee May if you would like.
Uh, okay, great. How do I do that?
And the one who's behind you and is now has you by the shoulder says, and they sound exactly the same. Um, I'll take you to her, Mr. Northrop.
Okay, okay, yeah, I'll come with you.
And you are led out of the guest wing, and are brought down one of the hallways that none of you have been down before. What is everybody else doing?
Callista
Once
has the idea of checking out the unoccupied rooms for remnants of anyone that had previously stayed there.
I'm
Yeah,
running
so
a
you
diagnostic.
okay.
I'm
Yeah,
just go ahead, sorry.
you're running this diagnostics tab and you're getting some memory checksum errors. There seems to
I'm
be a problem in your memory banks. Like there are some sections of memory that you can't read or write to. Like they're completely blocked off from yourself.
I'm also checking component inventory. Every servo, every neural link. I want to see if any changes have been made to my original.
Yeah,
Because of
you're
that
you're
dream.
running through that, and as you're doing that, you can get 1d4 stress for me.
Oh, oh, well, only got one more, but that brings me up to 11.
Yeah, so you're basically you run and the check comes back fine, and you run it again, and you run it again. And every time it comes back, everything's normal. You just can't shake that feeling that something's
Yeah,
wrong. Is it that everything's normal, or is it that your function to check if everything's normal been tampered with?
right.
Dr. Kusanagi, what were you up to?
Um, I'll probably pace around my room, try to read something, but not really, I cannot really focus. So, uh, might ask one of the Gemini to make an extra comforting breakfast, like go all out.
Of course, Dr. Kusanagi. That will be easily facilitated and arranged. I will come to collect you all when it's ready.
So Peter wakes up in to just total unfamiliarity. It's a unfamiliar space, looks over where his sister has always been, since he's been born, and Penelope is not there, which is maybe only happened once or twice, in his life that he can remember. Maybe she was sick and had to be in a hospital or something, but she has always been there when he woke up. So immediately he is scared, and he is searching, where he's the room he's in. It's I mean, it feels almost like a hospital, but not. Um, so he's calling out, Dad, Dad, Penelope, and he's going, from one room to the next. He goes in the bathroom. There's no mirror there for him to look into, and finally finds a door that opens to a hallway and steps out and, yells, Dad, Dad, Penelope.
Yeah, and Dr. Moon, as you're going from room to room, you hear Dr. Tangent calling out.
Are you all right, dear?
I'm I'm looking for my dad. I don't know where I am. Is this a hospital?
Well, it's sort of like a library of sorts, a very strange one. We're all scientists here researching. Why don't you come with me and we'll see if we can find your father?
Okay. My sister too, if she's here, and my Elaney, if she's here, anybody. I don't. I'm scared. I don't know where I am.
No, I understand, darling. I haven't seen your sister Elaney, but we'll certainly try to find your father. Come with me.
What is your name?
Oh, I'm Callista. And she pulls out a lollipop and hands it to him. Here you are, dear.
Thank you. I'm Peter. Peter Northrop.
Yes, and I'm very glad to meet you. Um, I don't want you to worry. We're going to try to get this fixed, okay?
Okay.
All right. Let's maybe everybody's going to breakfast. We'll head to the canteen.
Dr. Moisier, were you up to anything this morning?
Yeah, I was going to, right after waking up, try to keep with my dream journal, jot down recollections, and I'm trying to split them into, if I recognize them being more identified as Jake Moisure or Ava. Sometimes I can see the distinction, and I'm becoming a little more aware of that. So I'm trying to just log that down. And I review my yesterday's dream log too, just to see if anything makes sense. And then perhaps out of frustration with that, I head down to the where everyone else is headed for breakfast for coffee.
Okay, so the five of you get there. You see Dr. Moon is leading Dr. Tangent, who is sucking on a lollipop. And Dr. Von Neumann is nowhere to be seen.
Dr. Von Neumann, wasn't he seemed to be a little bit not himself last night. Is
He
there a
was
way we
retaining the personality of, I forget the name,
Aaron.
Terrence. Yeah.
is there a Gemini 7 nearby? Gemini?
They're always
Yeah,
around.
and Peter, they just said your father's name. But yeah, Gemini 7 starts to walk over.
My dad's name is Terrence. I don't see him. Are these the other scientists you were talking about?
Well, they're helpers, not so much scientists, but perhaps they know where your father is.
You know, Gemini 7 walks over and says, "Yes, I know where your father is, Peter."
Can you take me to him, or bring him to me?
Of course, I will take you to him right now.
Kind of looks up at Callista, like, with a "is this okay" look.
Do you want me to go with you, dear? I'm perfectly happy if you're more comfortable with me going with you.
Yeah. Would you?
I think he's feeling a little out of sorts, Jim. I'm going to escort him with you if that's all right.
And there's the slightest hesitation in his answer. And he says, that should be quite all right.
Yes, a small boy doesn't need to have all these worries.
Please, if you will accompany me. And he starts leading you down that same hallway where Dr. Von Neumann went. So, Dr. Von Neumann, you are brought into the circular room. Everything is brightly lit. There are a few there's furniture, but it's all very leisurely furniture. Long couches with tall backs, lounge chairs. There's some plants in here too. You hear the sound of running water. There are some fountains and things going. Very serene environment.
Okay. This is pleasant.
Please take a seat, Mr. Northrop.
Oh, okay.
You sit down, and this man just keeps standing right next to where you're sitting. He doesn't go anywhere.
Are you the director, the person in charge?
I am an assistant here. You can call me Gemini 7.
Ah, okay. Okay.
And coming
And
in from the other side of the room, you see a young woman enters. She's also dressed in this kind of plain white attire, as Gemini 7.
yeah, I'll stand when she comes in. Smile.
Hello, you must be Terrence Northrop.
Oh, thank God, someone got my name right. Yes, that's me. And
Yes,
you
well,
are?
I'm Lee May.
Oh, Miss May, thank God. I think there's been some kind of mix-up. I don't think I'm supposed to be here. And
You are through on both counts, Terrence.
oh, nobody was making any sense, and finally I'm
Mhm.
talking to somebody who understands. So, what can we do to fix this?
Well, it'll be quite all right. Just after a moment, and you feel a prick in your neck, and your whole body starts to go numb.
Did I just is it all right if I sit down?
Yeah, yes, please take a seat.
Yeah. I feel a little woozy.
Yeah, that's to be expected. This will only take a moment, dear. And you see coming in through another door into the circular room, another one of these Gemini 7s. They all look the same. And it's wheeling in this box. Normally, this happens organically on its own, but sometimes the process needs to be nudged along, you understand.
What process is that?
Well, Mr. Northrop, it brings me no pleasure to tell you this, but you are no longer alive.
What are you talking about?
You're you're a memory of Mr. Terrence Northrop.
No. I'm talking to you right now.
Right, of course you are. Of course you are.
Yes. Right? We are talking right now, aren't we?
Yes, well, you believe that you're talking to me. You believe that you are Mr. Terrence Northrop, but you are, in fact, Dr. Otto von Neumann. so
Okay.
pentologist of some renown.
Okay, let's set aside the
You-
philosophy discussion for a second here. My name is Terrence Northrop.
Yes,
This I am sure of.
you're. Yes, I am sure you are quite sure.
I don't know this Otto person.
No, but he knows you. Um, you are unfortunately in control of his body right now.
Just be like, the hands might not actually look very familiar. So I'd probably be kind of dumbstruck for a second.
Yes, you and your entire family, you see, perished on Hypnos 3. We have your memories here in our archives, and those have been copied into Dr. Von Neumann.
Am I in a state where it's possible to start hyperventilating? Because I think that's probably what I'd start doing at this point.
You would be panicking, but your body doesn't seem to be responding to you.
Okay, yeah. I'm definitely panicking inside.
This will all be over very quickly. And the Gemini's wheel that box over, and he opens it up, and you see this weird helmet-looking thing. And he starts to fit it over your head.
No, don't put that on me, please.
It'll be quite all right, Terrence.
I don't know what that is. I don't know what it does.
It's going to correct that little mix-up we were talking about earlier.
I'm fine. I shouldn't have come here. I'm sure I'm going to be just fine. A little sleep is all I need.
A little sleep indeed. Good night, Mr. Northrop.
Wait.
Your whole body goes. It's as though the inside of your head is filled with TV static. Slowly, you start to regain feelings in your extremities. And Dr. Von Neumann, you feel incredibly nauseous.
Oh, I think I'm going to throw up. I had the strangest dream.
Here, it's okay if you throw up, and Gemini 7 place gives you a bag.
Okay, yeah. I am going to throw up. Okay. Yeah.
Yes, you had a bit of difficulty after your last archival session, but you should be feeling okay now.
What kind of difficulty?
Well, you were having trouble distinguishing between yourself and the memories you experienced in the archive.
I see. Well,
Usually these things are short-lived, but your mind seemed to latch onto these memories quite fondly, let's say. And didn't want to let them settle back in where they belong.
Yeah, well, I am quite sure I am Otto von Neumann. This is quite clear.
Yes, well, I believe the others are waiting at breakfast for you.
I see. Well, then I will go join them.
And as you're walking to breakfast, you get these flashes, almost like these moments of identity slippage. Like you're here, you're at breakfast, you're going to meet your team, and then you get very confused about where you are, where are your kids. So it's not overpowering, but you are getting these moments. And as you're going down the hallway, you pass Dr. Moon, Dr. Tangent, and Gemini 7 heading back the way that you just came from.
Okay. I was heading to breakfast. If hopefully I have not missed you.
Dr. Von Neumann, you're back.
Yeah, I am back. Yeah, I was always here.
Oh, um, this is Peter, uh, Terrence's
Hi.
son, Peter. We're going to find his father for him. Have you seen him?
Nein, perhaps you should consult with Limay. She is down the hall, if you just continue on that direction.
All right. And Callista's very confused all over her face. She's in a very odd situation right now, and she doesn't know how to handle trying to tediously not let Peter see her confusion.
Yeah, I will escort you.
All right. Yes, maybe they may can explain better where Terrence is.
There is no one named Terence on the base.
What?
There was. Yes, there was a Terrence here, dear. Yes, your father was here.
Why did he say
Otto.
my dad wasn't here?
Yeah,
Oh.
I'm quite sure that Limay will clear everything up.
Yes, we're going to see Lee May, Peter. Lee May knows all.
Oh, okay.
Dr. Von Neumann, are you going back with them?
Yeah, but I'm not going to consult with Limay. I'll just show them into the lounge area, and then I'll go back to the breakfast lounge with the rest.
Okay. So Dr. Moon, Dr. Tangent, or should I say Peter, you enter a room, there's Peter, this room is full of all these adults you don't know. 3 of them are men who all look exactly the same. You and Penelope are twins, but these 3 look identical. And there's a woman. She seems not that much older than Elaney. She's dressed in this kind of leisurely white gown. She says, "You must be Peter."
I am. Is my dad here? I was told he was, and then that man just said he wasn't here.
He will be here very shortly. Please come here, sit down.
Kind of a glance up at Callista as he kind of walks over.
It'll be all right, dear. Lee May is going to make it all right.
Okay.
Peter, so you go sit down, and she says, "I'm Lee May," and she grabs your hands. "Can you be brave for me, Peter? I need you to be brave."
I can be, yeah, I can be brave if it's going to let me see my dad and my sister and Delaney. Yes.
And Calista, you see one of the Gemini 7s is preparing this syringe.
Oh, is that necessary?
Lee May doesn't acknowledge you. "Peter, tell me about your dad."
My dad, we moved to Hypnos 3, I think it was, for I don't know, and we left mom, and I love my dad, but he took us to this new place, me and my sister,
And you feel a prick in your neck,
and
and your body starts to go numb.
and he knew mom.
And Calista, you see that they slip this helmet onto Dr. Tangent.
What is that device?
Well, sometimes people have a hard time with an imprint. Normally, they can sleep it off, like Dr. Moisier. Their mind works it out for them, but sometimes they need a little bit of help.
Is it connected to Methuselah?
Well, Methuselah is the most advanced practitioner of these things, so I don't know what else it'd be connected to.
I'm curious how able how is it able to extract the particular memories from his body?
Oh, it's not extracting them, dear.
It's tamping them.
Yes, that's a good way to put it. Tamping them down. And Dr. Tangent, you get that sensation of your whole body, your brain, everything just filled with TV static. And then, Dr. Tangent, you are very nauseous.
Oh, I'm gonna need a bin.
Gemini 7, one of the Gemini 7s hands you a bag.
Oh gosh, what is going on? Did y'all put us back in cryo?
No, no. You see Lee Mays right there with you. Then just a little bit of a difficulty when you exited your last archival session.
What? Okay, what the fuck does that mean?
Your body has latched on a little too fondly to your most recent memories that you were perusing. You'll be
Okay,
quite all right.
okay. Well, I could use like a some pain medication. This headache is just Jesus.
Of course. Gemini 7 produces some pills and a glass of water.
Yeah, thanks. This is, I mean, I've said it before. This is fucked, you know, right? I mean, you know how fucked this is.
Do you remember anything?
I don't. I remember going in and terrible shit, and then I don't know. I don't know, Dr. Moon. I don't. There's bits and pieces. It's fuzzy. It's. I don't know. Maybe I was a
Lee
kid.
May, what did the machine? I retained the memories of Penelope quite well, and it doesn't seem to be affecting me. But what does this machine do where now they have trouble accessing the memory the same way that I do?
They will. It makes the memories less immediate. Well, it makes many of their memories less immediate, but predominantly by suppressing memories, Dr. Tangent is the deepest memory set in the body and is the one that usually will reemerge after this process. As the memories start to come back, Dr. Tangent will be able to recollect Peter's memories without any problem, much like you. Many people who do archival work experience what you experienced, Dr. Munt. They're able to recall the memories without being overwhelmed by them, but sometimes people need a little bit of help. That's all.
That was looking for his dad. He ran off, right?
Well, how
Oh,
about you get some breakfast, Dr. Tangent?
Yes, I think some hydration would do you good too.
I need a yeah. I need one of those daily pills is what I need. Two or three of them, though they're not going to give me that. But yeah, some toast and eggs would probably be good.
Well, I suppose we should go back to the canteen with the others, but this whole experience left a sour taste in my mouth. I know that Terrence and Peter were just memories that were retained from Methuselah, but it felt rather sickening to have to watch a little boy go through that.
Honestly, I don't know if I want the memories or not.
And I'm afraid we're stuck with them. They're going to be in us forever now, I believe.
That is wrong. Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, no, I need food and orange juice or something. And then maybe I can think a little straighter.
Okay, so the other three of you, Dr. Kusanagi, Dr. Moisier, and Tav, you you wait for a little bit after Callista and Blaine left, and Dr. Von Neumann comes into the room.
Good morning.
German accent, Dr. von Neumann. Good
Yeah,
morning.
of course. You were expecting something else.
Well, we were expecting Terrence, your personality that you woke up with, that you came out of the tank with. I guess that's been corrected. Good.
Yeah, this does not sound familiar to me, but if you say so.
There's Weiss sausage there.
It's quite good.
Thank you, Arthur. So, is everyone ready for more exploration of the archive?
I think we're all very nervous about it, but yeah.
I believe we are
I'll-
making quite good progress.
I'll convey to him what I said last night that he wasn't privy to. We need to try to focus on finding the information that we're looking for and not get wrapped up into all of these different personalities.
But I believe the information we are looking for is wrapped up in all of the different personalities. And I have had a thought on this. I believe that we have been attempting to direct our thoughts towards something in particular. And I wonder if maybe we should adopt the opposite approach and let the Methuselah Archive show us what it wants us to see.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's an interesting idea. I'm not sure that the Methuselah Archive knows what information is necessary. That's why it's showing us everything. I mean, the next thing we're going to be at is some birthday party when you were 25 years old and not Hypnos 3.
Yep. I concur with Tav.
We have to try to get it to take us to those memories just before whatever happened.
I believe that we have the beginning of the story, with the Northrop family and Peter finding the cave and the alien artifacts. And we have some of the middle of the story. We know of Eva, and we know of her medical investigation into the alien entities. But we do not know the end of the story.
We were thinking that we would skip Gamma and go straight to Delta, the alien intelligences, and see what's there.
I was thinking that might be the best for last, but if you think that this is the way you would prefer to do it, I will certainly take that into consideration.
It might be more than we can handle, but then we can get out first, and we'll at least know the flavor of what we might be dealing with.
What is the motivation for using the Delta instead of the Gamma with the colonial administration?
just to make more progress.
Mix things up
Perhaps.
a little, different approach this time. The
I think that
human the human sets have been somewhat useful, but it's been very slow. Might be best to go to the source directly,
I think
or
to
what
the
we suspect
administration
is the
might
source. Sorry, go
the
ahead.
administration might be so generalized. And I think the scientists definitely did something.
But the
The
administration will
administration,
have the information that we need. They will have the critical information of what happened in the final moments or days or whatever hours of the colony.
Question.
if we can find that, we're just going to end up at the birthday parties of some member of the administration. I don't know. You could be correct.
If we spend enough time, it will eventually come up.
This may not be totally relevant, but I'm thinking about the timeline. The Northrop family found these alien creatures. After that, they recruited Ava to come to this planet, but that must have taken how many years for her being in stasis until she arrived? And still the Northrop bodies were found intact after whatever happened?
I think the timeline is that the disaster took place, and then shortly after that, the bodies were collected and transported to Methuselah
Yep.
for.
No,
But
I got that, but it must have
yeah,
been 100 or 200 years ago before Ava ever arrived that the Northrops found this cave, right? So how are their
yeah.
bodies still, you know, this intact? Although I guess we didn't see the bodies, but it's still maybe
But
it's a minor
they
detail.
had been in that state for over 2,000 years, as I recall. So 200 years may not make much difference.
They also the timeline for what happened on Hypnos was they discovered the aliens, they removed the aliens, they began to dissect the aliens, and
Yeah.
then they thought they needed a cybernetics expert, and they brought in Ava. Because when she
But
got there, two of them had already been dissected.
yeah, but I think it took a long time for Ava to get there. But maybe
It
it's
did.
just a minor detail. Let's
Those
not get
first two,
hung up on it.
those first two they dissected, they probably realized they were in way over their heads, and they had to bring in an expert. But they might have already triggered an antibody reaction that by the time Ava got there, it was already well underway, and then they were all annihilated, except for
Okay.
the 12 of them. I wonder if it had to do with where the 12 happened to be located at the time. Were they
Well,
inside an enclosure? Were they outside in the sunshine?
I think we have that information right, where they were found. But even still, with millions of people on the planet, if they were inside, other people will have been inside, and
Actually,
Outside
other
as
people
well.
will have.
you do not have that information.
We don't know. Can we access that information? Was that ever given to the archive?
You do
Gemini
not.
7.
Yes.
I'll ask Gemini 7 the question. Do we know where the bodies were located when they were found? Specifically, exactly where?
Yes, we do.
And
Uh,
can you convey that information to us?
Well, you must understand something, and this may be difficult to hear. There were no human bodies recovered from Hypnos 3.
Who were the 12 that were? What was
well,
recovered?
yeah.
2 specimens were recovered from Hypnos 3.
The aliens.
Yes.
Did the aliens contain the memories of the 12?
That is correct. As I
Okay, we're
heard Dr.
done.
Kusanagi speculating, the Northrop twins, Peter and Penelope, were well middle-aged by the time Dr. Ava arrived.
And I mean, it's nice of you that you share this information now. Would have been nice to know this beforehand, I think. Might have been useful in our research, but
Maybe we didn't ask the right questions.
oh, it's always someone else's fault. It's never our fault, of course. No, okay. But how would these specimens contain the human experiences?
That we do not know.
We would have to have collected the data somehow. And they must have been collecting the data for some time before the disaster took place. Were they, in fact, analyzing the humans to see the most efficient means of disintegrating them?
And another thing I wonder is how does Methuselah know how to read or integrate the memories contained in the alien of the humans? It seems like an extra step that is pretty hard to overcome, but Methuselah is, of course, pretty strange in itself.
I wonder
Now I
if
really. Go ahead.
I was just thinking if the memories of the humans were somehow absorbed because those humans were the ones that had the physical contact, perhaps. And maybe if we get the memories of the gamma set, maybe those colonial administrators might have had physical contact. They might have been the ones with the physical contact first, and then Ava came in.
Has every personality that we've encountered, though, had contact physically with the aliens?
I think so. The Northrops found them in a cave, and Ava was dissecting them.
Yeah, and the children found them.
Yeah.
So,
I think you might be
far,
onto something here.
So the administrators also might have at some point, some of them might have touched.
They might have been the original authorities that gathered them up and then realized they were in over their head. Oh, wait a minute, though. But Ava did have that. She bumped heads with the head of research on Hypnos 3, though. He felt she was taking over his position. He must have had interaction with the aliens, though.
But if this is true, we're already in contact with the alien minds. All of these memories have come from the aliens.
Did the two specimens that were retrieved, did they show any signs of vivisection? There were 4 aliens, 2 were cut into. So were those the 2 that were found, or the other 2? Does Gemini have any
The
information on
specimens
this?
that were brought here were intact.
It's probably.
Oh, yeah. That's right. There's only 2 left.
So Ava didn't come into contact with those, at least not as intimately as the other ones, but probably she still studied them. Yeah, or shared. Yeah, I mean, we have hive minds all around us at the moment. That's definitely true. Extremely interesting discovery.
Well, then there's only one question. Do we want to look at the administrators and see what their contact was to confirm our hypothesis, or just go straight to the the alien minds.
I'm still for the alien minds, but let's wait until the entire team is here before we make a decision, I would say.
Yeah, and Dr. Moon and Dr. Tangen. Um, yeah, if you're not already present for this conversation, you're present now.
Okay.
I'm
So we
I'm
fill
sorry.
you in on whatever you missed.
So you're
Hmm.
wanting to interface with the aliens now, this time.
I think in a way we already have been.
I feel like they're the source and they're the most important.
So yeah, I guess we've been interfaced with memories filtered through the aliens.
I mean, it's very interesting to either confirm or dismiss this hypothesis about coming in contact, but that doesn't really tell us about what happened on Hypnos 3. That's more satiating our own curiosity.
Yeah. And ultimately, we will investigate both data sets. So it's not like we're missing out on one, depending on which one we choose.
I mean, are we going to be able to comprehend like the alien mind?
That
I
is
don't
my
think
question
so,
as
but
well.
we will know. We won't know until we try, right? I think it'll be very hard to understand it, but I'm very
Well,
interested to try.
if your thinking is that the aliens absorb the memories of the others that died that we've been inhabiting or inhabiting us anyway, then the aliens' memories will surely show that. It'll show the interactions it's had with any of the humans.
I mean, if
It
Methuselah deems it so, yes.
it it might also be that the aliens are behind a mask. They may have absorbed the information trying to understand us. And so I wouldn't be surprised if they pretended to be human in order to interact with us. I think they're more interested in us than we are. They're more capable of bridging the gap between our languages than we are.
Seems that way.
Well, folks,
Once more,
Into
the breach. Yes.
Into
I'm gonna,
alien territory.
I mean, I'm gonna enjoy my goddamn toast and eggs first.
yeah.
very good.
With toast and eggs, you're feeling fancy. Nothing of the grilled cheese sandwich anymore.
I
It's
mean, only on a big bender would I have grilled cheese for breakfast.
okay.
So I scarf down some toast and eggs.
Coffee.
So Lee Bay comes to collect you all. Says, so what memory set are we working with today?
Delta.
Delta. How exciting.
What are the chances my body's hijacked by, the memories of some alien life force?
Well, Dr. Tangen, you will be the first people ever to interface with alien archival material. In a way, you already are. You already have that status.
I mean, that doesn't answer my question, but okay.
Well, if you come out of it a pill bug, well,
I mean, I'm pretty sure I came out of it as like a, young boy today.
You know, I'm honestly wondering if Methuselah originally, our first time in, did a complete brain scan of us for the sole purpose of being able to put us back together if anything changes. Because you guys left this room an hour ago, completely different personalities. So when you came back, you're back to your old self. So Methuselah knows how to put you back into your brains, I guess.
It's easily verifiable by asking if they have any memories of our spa day here on the planet. That happened after the first time in, but yeah.
Yeah.
Let's just dig into this. The sooner we found out what happened, the sooner we can get off this rock.
I agree.
Well, let's not waste any time then. You're so eager.
So into the elevator we go.
Into the elevator.
Here we go.
You descend down into the room with the deprivation tanks. They all open up. You strip down. You slip inside, and they close around you. And I think we will end this episode here and enter our final session next week.
Thought that might be what happened.
Our players included Carrie Marion, Stuart Lipley, Stefan Amshi, Cohen Lighton, Kent Blue, and myself with Morgan Llewellyn as the game warden. We have a Discord server where you can chat with other members, you can set up private games, and you can learn the finer arts of gameplay and game mastering. We provide audio-only versions of our shows free for you to download from Spotify, Podbean, or iTunes. Support for the show is provided by our patrons who are listed in the closing credits. If you'd like to show us your appreciation, please visit our Patreon page, or you can use the thanks button just below the screen. Like, share, and subscribe to our channel, and punch the bell icon for updates on our latest shows. And leave us some comments. We enjoy reading them and answer any questions you might have. This is Thom Raley, together with all the members of our gaming club, inviting you to journey with us once again into the darkness for another adventure into the strange and sometimes terrifying universe of the Mothership role-playing game. Until next time, good luck, good gaming.